It's my pleasure to welcome you to the 7th part of the Wisdom of Christ. The wisdom of Christ has been influencing the world for 2,000 years, and there's so much interesting stuff in what Jesus is saying, so let's dive into that. It's a flow sequence today, so I'll ask you to begin or start at the top end of your mat, simply in mountain pose. Hands down by your side. Stand tall, shoulders up and back. Spread your toes out. Soften your knees. Breathe and sigh out whatever you need to sigh out. So right now it's not about what you bring on the mat. It's not about your feelings. Right now it's about knowing that you are present right now. Loved by God, seen by God, known by God. Breathe. Breathe deeply. Like you're inhaling God's love, God's peace. The very short verse that we will dive into today is one that's one of my, my northern stars, my guidelines in life. One of my favorite verses. It is very short and it's love your neighbor as yourself. And Jesus is telling us that this is one of the most important commandments. Love thy neighbor, or your neighbor, as you love yourself. What does that mean to you, standing here on the mat today? Whatever it means, whatever it makes you think or feel, just be with that, even though it might just be empty space or empty thoughts. Now bend down your knees ever so slightly, arch your back, and then move into a forward fold. Let your fingers reach down on the mat. Again, bending your knees, core in or abdomen in, rise up into mountain pose. Almost vertebrae by vertebrae. Take your arms out to the side. Reach your hands up and again soften your knees, arching your back and fold forward. This is our spinal warm up. Again, rounding your way up like you're hanging. Hands out to the side, reach up and fold forward. Now, as we move through the different postures of today, please just don't do those poses that you know is not good for you. Okay, so love yourself on the mat. It's a good place to practice self-love. And last time. And rising up. Now if you want to use your Ujjayi breath as we move, that snoring, exhaling through your nose, please use that one. Step your right leg back. Let your right hand reach, aligned with the front foot, and left arm, reach it up. Move it to the front, and maybe you scooch a little bit more to the front of the mat. Move it back. You can soften your knees and move forth and back on your mat. As you move your arm, open up your chest and your shoulder. Use a block underneath your right hand if the floor is far away. All right, remember what we do here, because we're going to turn on the mats, and then you need to know what we'll do because you won't be able to see the screen. But first off, wide-legged forward fold. Down again, soft movements from side to side. Bend one knee, stretch the other. Walk your hands from one foot to the other. I have my feet pointed a little bit out as I do this. Now the next time you're at the back end of the mat, opposite side of the screen probably, you'll turn around and do that low lunge position. This time, the other arm up, reaching forward, reaching back. Maybe you follow your breath, so you exhale as you reach forward. Inhale as you move back, or whatever works. Last time, forward and back. And then we go through our wide-legged forward fold until the top end of the mat. Step the front foot back, downward facing dog. Pedal your feet, spread out your fingers, take your shoulders down so they're a little bit tucked together, those shoulder blades behind you. Either stay here or do an optional vinyasa. Inhale to your plank. On toes and knees, lower down. Core in. Inhale, Cobra. And exhale, down dog. Awesome. Make sure you just soften your knees. You don't need to reach down with your ankles or your heels on the mat. Just bend your knees and make sure your spine is straight. Again, walk to the top of the mat and fold forward. Reach up. Mountain pose. So love yourself. Some of us have an easier time loving everybody else than loving ourselves. And this is also why I love this verse, because I'm reminded also to love myself, not always to have focus on everybody else, but also that God wants me to love myself. Let's do a sequence. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhaling, half lift as you reach your right leg up and step it to the back end of the mat. Bend the front knee, look to the front end of the mat, high lunge. Reach your arms up, take your time to settle your shoulders. Grasp your fingers, take your hands behind your head and go for a small back bend. Elbows out to the side so you stretch your chest. And with this, let go of the back bend and twisting with your hands behind you to your left side. Okay, coming back with a straight spine. Let go of your hands. Reach out to the side, warrior two. Bending down the front leg, stretching the back leg. Make sure the whole foot, sole of the foot is reaching down. Let the front elbow reach down on your thigh, shoulders reaching up and back, arm forward. A long straight spine from the back of the foot to the front of the arm. Looking down, frame the foot, back heel off, step back, down dog. Optional vinyasa, inhale plank. Shoulders forward as you exhale down. Inhale cobra or up dog if you like. Exhale down dog. Soften everything. Love thyself. Also on the mat. If you jump, lift the heels up. Jump to the front of the mat, fold forward. High mountain. Inhale, reach your arms up. Fold forward, exhale. Half lift as your left leg moves up and to the back end of the mat. Again, high lunge, taking our time. I know if you know all of this, you probably want to go a little bit faster, but let's take our time. Fold your hands behind our head and really take your shoulder blades back, elbows out. Reach up, look up if you can keep your balance. Core in as you straighten your spine again. Hinge a little bit forward and then you twist so that your left elbow reaches down and your right elbow up. Coming back to center, let go of your hands, warrior two. Adjust your stance and sink low if you have that amount of energy today. Side ankle, elbow down on your thigh and reach the back arm up. Now I like to lift my hip a tiny bit up just because it feels really great. Letting go. Step back, down dog. Again, stay here or do your vinyasa. As you inhale to your plank, move your shoulders further than your fingertips and lower down, so that helps your shoulders not be elevated towards your ears as you lower down. Cobra up dog, down dog. Again, jumbo walk to the top of the mat. Fold forward. High mountain, repeating the sequence. Exhale, fold forward. Half lift, inhale, right leg up. Exhaling, lowering it down. Inhaling, high mountain. Exhaling, fold your hands, look up. Straighten your spine, inhale. Twisting, right elbow down. Warrior two. Like a slow dance, moving from one posture to the other. Side ankle, elbow down. Reach the top arm forward, shoulders away. Letting go. Hands down, back heel off, step back, plank pose. Yes, plank pose, adding on. Come down on your belly, hands down by your side. Lift up. So that your feet are off the mat, knees off the mat, chest as well. Take your hands and place them underneath your shoulders and even a little bit further back. Tuck your toes under. See if you can come into a plank on toes or knees. And then your down dog. Lifting right leg up. Point your toes, open up your hip. If you want to go for wild things, stepping your right leg up and back, lifting your hip up, go ahead. Moving back into your down dog. Let's do that again. Opposite side. Jump to the front. Fold forward. High mountain, inhale. Exhaling, ujjayi your breath, fold forward. Half lift, this time left leg up and back. High lunge. Hands behind your head, open up your chest. Straighten your spine, navel in as you twist. Warrior two. Lots of balance here as you move from one posture to the other. Side stretch, elbow down, lift your hip up and take one big cycle of breath. Finding plank. Lowering down, elbows by your ribs. And then hands by your hip, palms facing up. Shoulder blades together, rolling them back, lifting. Breathing as we stay here, strengthening our back. All right, hands down, plank. Make sure your spine is straight. Down dog. Adjust your stance. This is quite important that we have our hands firmly down in your mat as we lift up left leg. Open up the hip, either stay here with your toes pointed, or as we did before, step back into wild thing or flipping back. Letting go. Down dog. Jump to the front. Fold forward. Inhale. Exhale, mountain pose. Take a break. This is a pretty hard sequence. So we'll do the last part of it. So do you find it easier to love everybody else than yourself? Why is that? No need to get the whole answer or everything in perspective as we move on the mat. Sometimes the simple, oh yeah, or just simple realizations that pops into your mind is all that we need right now. Now let's take the last sequence. Inhale your arms up and again fold forward. Half lift right leg up. Exhaling, lowering it down. Inhaling, high lunge. Hands behind your head. Exhale, back bending, deeper than before maybe. Stretching your spine. Inhale, twisting to your left side. Warrior two. Preparing as you inhale, lowering down as you exhale. Side ankle, inhale as you reach forward, and exhale as you kind of stretch the side body. Inhaling, preparing your plank. Exhaling, lowering down. Take your hands by your side. Inhale, reach up, and stay here again for one breath. And that might be faster or slower than I teach here. Hands underneath your shoulders. Tuck your shoulders away from the ears. Plank. Down dog. Right leg up. As we did before, stay here. I'll flip back just for, again, one breath. Coming back. Now let your right leg stay elevated. Always have to go back before, but move to your plank. Tuck your chin towards your chest, knee underneath your belly. Round your back. And again up and to the top of the mat. We need our balance pose. So look to the front of the mat and lift left leg up and back. Warrior three, closing up your hip. Reach your hands to the front. Stretching, all that can be stretched here. One more breath. Eagle pose. See if you can keep your balance. Left leg crosses over once with the toes on the mat, or twice if you can actually wrap all the way around. Bending your knees is crucial to make this happen. And just hands in prayer pose. Broadening through the front of your chest. And let go. Last time, inhale, arms up, fold forward. Half lift, left leg is going to be elevated and moved back. Take your time. Inhale, high lunge. Hands behind your head, exhale, back bend. Straighten your spine, twisting to your right side. Warrior 2. Sinking down ever so slowly. Side angle, front arm on the thigh. Looking down, plank to low plank. Hands down by your side. And again, one cycle of breath using our back body. Now using our triceps. Elbows by your side, lift, down dog. Left leg up. Wild thing, or just stay in your hip opener. Move it back. Left leg up again, 3-legged dog. Plank pose, hug it in. So squeeze it, navel in. Become as tiny as you can here. Reach your leg up and back before you step it to the top of the mat. So this time, again, left leg. Look to the front. And right leg up. Take a look at the back toes, pointing directly down, also the pinky toe. Warrior 3 or whatever version that makes sense to you. Lots of balance. Stay strong. All right. Eagle pose. Right legs wraps around. Keep your gaze on the ground. And don't hurry. Squeezing your inner thighs for better balance. Release. Shake it out. Sometimes we're told that we need to learn to love ourselves. Just tell yourself that you are worthy, you are loved. And it makes sense, but somehow it doesn't make sense, because love is always relations. It's always between two parties. I cannot just convince myself to love myself. Love is always something between me and something else. I think that's the nature of love. And I think that's hard just to say, love yourself. Well, if I don't have the feeling that somebody else is loving me. Fold forward as you might ponder upon this, stepping on the palms of your hand. It's simply hard to know or feel that you are loved if nobody, or you don't feel like anybody is actually loving you. But that's the beauty of God being love. That we are not to just say and convince ourselves that we are loved. We can tell ourselves that we are worthy because God loves us. Let go of your forward fold. Step back, coming down on your spine, or your belly, Tuck your toenails down. Lift up in a Cobra. So chest off. I like to have my hands a little bit more here to the front. Shoulders down. Relax your thighs, glutes. So if you have a hard time loving yourself, maybe you need to open up your heart to the perspective that somebody else, somebody who created the universe, loves you through grace, not because you're perfect. We're not perfect. But because God is love. And he chose to come down to earth, spread out his arms on the cross, saying, I love you so much that I'm willing to die for you, so that you can live, so that you can breathe, and you can find true wisdom. Come back on your spine and find, on your belly, and find child's pose. So, hip, glutes towards your heels, forehead on the mat. So there's nothing you can do to make God love you more. As I prepared this, I was thinking that some of us are doing so many things to get people to love us. Maybe want to be the best, or the most clever, or the most skinny, or the most whatever, so that we feel loved or seen. But with God, we can just lean back into his arms. We don't need to run or strive or work for it. We can lean back, so let's lean back. So come up, seated on your mat, legs forward. And let's try to lean back into God's love. If it feels a little bit odd, maybe try it anyway. Okay, you can hold on here, close your eyes. Okay, God, I want to lean into your love so that I can love myself. And slowly, round your back. Come down on your elbows, whatever. And then all the way down onto your mat. Leaning into your mat and into God's love. God will carry you. So you can exhale. And know that you are worthy of self-love. Butterfly pose, sole of the feet reach together, knees out to the side. And rest here. Knowing and living in the perspective of self-love just as much as you love everybody else is a game changer. It can change your whole life to know that you are love worthy. And you can put up boundaries, saying no, and you're still loved. People can not like you or disapprove with your choices, but you are still loved. That's powerful. Now gather your knees and move your feet further away from your hip. And then with your knees still somewhat bended, move your legs a little bit out to the side, hands resting on the floor somewhere on your side. Move your legs to the other side. And I have to say, this verse, it's important to me because if it's hard to take care of yourself, put up boundaries and all that, knowing that somebody else is saying to you, hey, love yourself as your neighbor. If somebody else, if a doctor or a shrink or whatever is saying that to you, it's like, okay, then I'll listen. And if you say it to yourself, it's like, but if somebody else is telling you, love yourself, then it's easier. And Jesus is saying right now, hey, you are worthy of love. So don't work yourself to death or whatever might be your case. Come back to center and rest 1 minute here on the mat, and let your palms reach up, and maybe even take your hands above your head just to open up that chest. Leaning in. God, help me to love myself. Maybe even picturing God or Jesus in front of you with a smile. Saying to your heart and your mind, I love you, my child. I created you with a purpose, with dreams, visions. So hold on, because I love you. If what has been spoken today touched you, I believe it's the Holy Spirit speaking to you. So stay down on your mat. Maybe even put your hands on your heart to recognize that you are loved. And when you're ready, you can always sit up and all of that. From my heart to your heart, thank you so much. My prayers go to you that you will love yourself as your neighbor.